Vinnland Uber Alice by Jack Fike and Rob Harper. Part 1.
Vinnland is a small country, hidden away in a quiet corner of the world. It was given to the international mercenary group known as the Spiral Architects after World War II as a prize for services rendered. It was given to them to govern as they saw fit. Over the convening century, and due to certain realities of governing, the Spiral Architects have created a system of politics where a group of 12 anonymous people run the country. No one knows who the 12 are, not even each other. I sat at my desk in front of a computer screen. On the screen is a single question. Should the Spiral Architects send help to a well-paying, but not morally just warlord in a corrupt little country? The money was ridiculous. The natural resources of the country wasted on hiring us instead of on helping their own people. A yes or a no blinks on the screen. It was an obvious choice. The SA do not help warlords. I touch the no icon. The results flash up on the screen, and my head drops. 10-2. Yes vote. What have the Spiral Architects become? I am one of the 12, and sometimes things don't go the way I'd like. We 12 live dangerous lives. Since we are all anonymous, we still have our day jobs. We are all SA operatives. A job which isn't exactly safe. When one of the 12 dies, or very rarely steps down, a new one is appointed by an elaborate system. Now the whole thing is done by encrypted computers. It is a foolproof plan to eliminate the chance of assassination and guarantee our continued rule. It is a plan which has now begun to unravel. I walk into the luxury apartment of Yuri Nath. I had been here many times. Most of the upper class of Vinnland had been to Yuri's famous parties. But I'm not here on a social call. I'm here on official business for the Spiral Architects. Yuri is dead. He lay half on his bed, his head a mess thanks to an assassin's bullet. What do we have here?
Sir, Caucasian, male, dead by gunshot. It seems like a sniper through the window.
Yuri was a member of the 12. Everyone knew this. He never tried to keep it a secret. Now he paid the price for his arrogance. As I have said, I'm also a member of the 12. No one knows this. I've made sure to keep my position a secret. I like living, and want to stay that way. My name is Warren Peace, an old family name which I adopted. All the Spiral Architects choose their names. Officially, I'm the head of internal investigations for the SA.
He was one of the 12.
I just looked at the cop. Normally, even Yuri's death would have been handled by a lower investigator, even though he was a member of the 12. No one would acknowledge his membership even after his death, and a new member would be chosen at random. But this was not the first of the 12 to die. The computer contacted me when Yuri died as a failsafe. Less than a day ago, Beverly D had also been killed. The murder hadn't even registered on my reports. I hadn't known Beverly, nor did she make it known that she was one of the 12. She was a member of the SA, as all the 12 had to be. But Spiral Architects lived dangerous lives, and we died all the time. Only when Yuri died did the computer flip a switch and send the fact that Beverly was one of the 12 to me. One of the 12 to die is normal. 2 in a day was cause for a look. People died every day. It was probably all just a coincidence. The fact that this has never happened in Vinnland's 90-year existence is just a statistical anomaly. I let the techs do their business, and soon they take the body away. I dutifully interview the maid who found the body and scan her barcode so as to have a record of her. She would be the main suspect. The lower classes tend to resent the privileged. I'll let her think she's safe, but she'll be under constant surveillance, more than usual. The thought is that eventually she'll slip up, or the techs will find something to link her to Yuri's death. I'll leave the apartment and head to my car. I'll miss Yuri's parties. He had been an ass, but at least the women and drinks had been good. It's drizzling in the capital. It's always drizzling in the capital. This city's name is actually Vinnland City, but everyone just calls it the capital. It's also the only city in Vinnland, so there's no real reason to call it anything other than the city. But the capital is what people just started calling it, and it's stuck. I walk from Yuri's apartment building to my car. It's a long walk, and I let the rain fall on my head. The streets in Vinnland are actually a level lower than the public areas, so as to allow freer movement of traffic without pedestrians getting in the way. A unit of Spiral Architect Home Guard march by without a look. I'm well dressed and look like I belong, so there's no real reason to arouse their interest. The Home Guard is an arm of the Vinnland Ministry of Peace, and act as the law in the capital. Outside the capital there isn't much in the way of law, mostly because the peasants keep to themselves. The main interest of the Home Guard is to make sure the peasants stay outside the city, and the citizens stay inside. Not like any peasant would really want to come to the capital. They are subtly taught at an early age to avoid the capital, and to stay on their farms. Those who do want to come to the capital are rare, and they are usually to be incorporated into the workforce, or even the spiral architects themselves. The SA are always looking for more recruits. I finally make it to my car, which is parked on the street. It's an Aston Martin DB12 with a 1,000 horsepower hydrogen engine. It roars when I push the ignition. Naturally, the engine would be pretty silent, but a special exhaust is fitted to make it sound like a V12. Even though petroleum vehicles had been banned worldwide 10 years earlier, people still wanted that sound. The car is another perk of being a spiral architect. Normally such a car wouldn't be allowed through the embargoes certain countries had put on Vinnland, but for the right price anything can be imported. The embargoes are mostly a joke anyway. Most, if not all, the countries who publicly embargoed Vinnland secretly hire the spiral architects to fight their little wars. It's all for show. This also guarantees Vinnland's security. No one would try to invade our rich little country for two main reasons. One, no one wants to piss off the spiral architects. Such a political faux pas would usually result in the SA hiring themselves out cheap to the enemies of whoever the offenders were for some revenge. Secondly, no one is sure what the border defenses of Vinnland are. It is a well-known fact that Vinnland doesn't have banned border stations, and has access to the best technologies developed home and abroad. I shoot down the street thinking about where to go. I hurl through the semi-submerged, mostly quiet roadways. Vinnland City is actually a marvel of technology. When most foreigners think of Vinnland, they think of the peasants and rural life. Here in the capital, the technology and ingenuity on display rivals Tokyo or New York. It's a small city by comparison, as Vinnland is a small country, but still the buildings shoot up to the heavens, lit with so many glowing lights. It makes me proud to think of my city. I contemplate where to go. It's still early, so it's either the club, which is a private club for spiral architects, or some other SA business. I'm invited to some home guard ceremony, but I don't really like those things. Not much of a choice. The DB12 thunders around the next corner, and I head to my destination.
To be continued.
Dead Zone, the podcast. The first podcast dedicated to Dead Zone, the wargame. Join us every month for news and reports on the upcoming Mantic title. Join the Dead Zone. deadzonegame.podbean.com